Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am coming to you from Jayco Coffee. This is a great place to get a cup of coffee. The coffee is delicious and you get a free donut. You get a free donut with a cup of coffee. Hey everyone, I'm Mike and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something really fascinating, the Americanization of the Philippines. Now, if you spent any time here, you'll notice little pieces of American culture everywhere, from the way people speak, to the food they eat, to the shows they watch, and even the holidays they celebrate. But have you ever stopped to think that why the Philippines looks and feels so Americanized compared to other Asian countries? That's exactly what I'm looking at today. I'm going to break down the history, the culture, the lifestyle, and even the economics behind how the Philippines has taken on so much American influence. Stick with me because by the end, you'll see that this isn't just a surface level thing. It's woven into the country's DNA. Let's start with the history, because this is where Americanization really begins. The Philippines was under Spanish rule for over 300 years, from the 1500s until the Spanish-American War in 1898. After Spain lost that war, the United States took control of the Philippines as part of the Treaty of Paris. Now, officially, the Philippines became a U.S. colony, or to be more politically correct, an unincorporated territory. From 1898 to 1946, nearly 50 years, the U.S. was deeply involved in shaping Philippine institutions. That's a long time for influence to sink in. To put it into perspective, that's about 2 generations of Filipinos growing up under direct American governance. During that period, the U.S. introduced a lot of things. Public education in English. In fact, American teachers known as Thomasites came over in 1901 to set up schools and teach English. And this is why the Philippines today is the 3rd largest English-speaking country in the world. Democratic government systems. The U.S. helped establish the foundations of the Philippine Congress, local government structures, and even aspects of the legal system. Cultural imports like movies, music, sports like basketball, and even fashion trends came pouring in. So when people say the Philippines feels more American than many other parts of Asia, it's not by accident. It's by design. And it started over a century ago. One of the clearest signs of Americanization is language. Unlike Japan, Korea, or even Thailand, where English is more of a secondary skill, here in the Philippines, it's part of everyday life. Signs are in English. Business is conducted in English. Schools teach math, science, and history in English. And if you walk around Manila, Cebu, or Davao, you'll hear a unique mix of English and Tagalog, or Visaya combined with English. This bilingualism isn't just convenient, it's a huge economic driver. Because Filipinos are so fluent in English, the Philippines became one of the biggest centers for outsourcing and call centers in the world. American companies in tech, banking, and customer service rely heavily on Filipino workers who can speak to their U.S. customers almost seamlessly. So every time that you talk to a customer support, you hear a polite, neutral accented voice on the other end, there's a good chance that you're talking to a Filipino in Manila or Cebu. That's Americanization at work, not just culturally, but economically. Another big piece of Americanization is entertainment. Think about movies. Hollywood dominates the box office here, while local Filipino films do well too. When Marvel, DC, or Disney release something, you can guarantee theaters across the Philippines are packed. TV and streaming platforms are also filled with American shows. Netflix, Disney+, HBO. You'll see Filipinos binge watching the same series that Americans do. Shows like Friends, Stranger Things, or Game of Thrones, all part of pop culture here. Then there's music, from pop to R&B to hip-hop. American artists like Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars, Drake, and Beyonce have massive followings. But let's be fair, Bruno Mars is half Filipino. Filipino bands and singers often perform covers of American hits. And karaoke culture here, it's filled with English language songs. Even in sports, basketball is king in the Philippines. It's the #1 sport, more popular than traditional Filipino games or even soccer, which dominates other Asian countries. The NBA is watched religiously here, and names like LeBron James or Steph Curry are household names. Now let's talk about education and aspirations. The American influence goes beyond entertainment and food. It's deeply rooted in education and aspirations. Because of that long U.S. colonial period, the Philippines school system mirrors America's in many ways. Grade levels in the K-12 system, subjects are taught in English, the use of textbooks and teaching materials based on the American models. Even college degrees are influenced by American standards, which is why a lot of Filipino nurses, engineers, and IT professionals are able to work abroad in the U.S. without too many hurdles. And speaking of working abroad, the American dream is alive and well here in the Philippines. Many Filipinos see the United States as the ultimate destination for work, education, and even retirement. That's why you have millions of Filipinos working in America today, and why Filipinos have the dream of getting that U.S. visa or green card. You also can't ignore politics. The Philippine government structure is modeled after the American system. There's a president, a vice president, a Congress, and even a Supreme Court. Just like in the U.S., political campaigns feel very American too, with slogans, posters, rallies, and even televised debates. Even the Constitution itself is heavily influenced by American ideals of democracy, freedom of speech, and individual rights. While the execution may differ, the framework is undeniably American-inspired. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some people argue that the Philippines has become too Americanized. Critics say that in adopting so much American culture, the Philippines risks losing part of its identity. For example, Filipino kids grow up knowing more about U.S. history than their own. Fast food culture has replaced some traditional eating habits, raising concerns about health. The obsession with American entertainment can overshadow local films and music. There's also the economic side. Because the Philippines relies heavily on the U.S. outsourcing, remittances, and trade, some argue it creates kind of a dependence. But here's the flip side. Others believe that Americanization has also given the Philippines a unique advantage. English fluency, global competitiveness, and more modern economy are all partly thanks to U.S. influence. In fact, it's this hybrid identity, part Asian, part American, that makes the Philippines stand out. So now let's talk about everyday life in the Philippines. Imagine walking through a neighborhood in Manila. You'll see jeepneys on the road, very Filipino, but blasting American pop songs from the speakers. Kids shooting hoops in makeshift basketball courts, imitating their NBA idols. Families watching Netflix together in English, eating McDonald's fries alongside local dishes like adobo. Schools starting the day with the Philippine national anthem, but then diving into science lessons in English. It's this constant blend that makes the Philippines feel like a cultural crossroads. So what does the future look like? With social media, streaming, and global connectivity, American influence is not slowing down. TikTok trends from the US spread instantly here. New movies and songs drop worldwide on the same day. And with millions of Filipinos working or living in the US, that exchange of culture will only continue. At the same time, there's a growing pride in Filipino culture. Local music, street food, and traditions are still thriving. In fact, some argue that Filipinos are good at taking American influence and making it their own, like turning spaghetti into a sweet, hot dog-filled version or blending English with Tagalog into Taglish. The Philippines isn't about copying America, it's about remixing it. So is the Philippines Americanized? Absolutely. From language and politics to food and entertainment, the influence is everywhere. But at the same time, Filipinos have taken that influence and made it uniquely theirs. It's not about losing identity, it's about blending and adapting. That's why you can have a country that feels familiar to an American visitor, but still distinctly Filipino at its core. So what do you think? Is the Philippines Americanizing? Most would argue that it is. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? Be sure to make your opinions known in the comments. Thanks for sticking around for this deep dive. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and the bell notification. You'll be helping me grow this new channel of mine, and it's very much appreciated. See you in the next video. God bless.